Called a quick and easy pattern, which I know that that is usually a lie, but hello and welcome to my channel, Haylee Marie Vintage. Today we're going to be doing something I haven't done before. I have not ever sewn a garment from scratch. I've refashioned garments, but I've never made anything from a pattern. So we're going to use this 1950s house dress pattern, and I'm going to hopefully make it work. I have not followed a pattern before, and I know vintage patterns are notoriously difficult, but I've read the instructions and they're actually pretty clear on this one, and it's pretty basic. It's kind of just like making a really big button-down shirt. There's not very many fitting. There's only, I think, like 4 darts up here in the shoulder. It should be pretty simple. It's called a quick and easy pattern, which I know that that is usually a lie, but we'll give it a shot. I'm doing the variation with pockets. They look like they're really big, nice pockets, because I think since it's a house dress, you could theoretically like put a spoon or a spatula in them. I don't know. But this will be the pattern I go off of, and then I have this fabric here. This fabric has a little more stretch to it than I think it maybe should, but I'm going to try to make it work. We'll see. And then I have all my interfacings, my hemming tape, and I have some buttons to choose from. The pattern calls for 10 buttons, but I'm going to try to make 9 buttons work because I have some buttons that I really love and really want to use for this dress, but I only have 9 of them. This is my first time trying to film my sewing process, so it's probably going to be a little weird, a little rough, but that's cool with me, because, you know, learning and things. I don't know. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna iron out my fabric before I start filming because I don't think you all care about the ironing stage. Okay, hello. So I know what you're thinking here. This doesn't look very ironed. Well, I ironed it all. I'll put in a clip of like my ironing setup, but it's literally a tabletop ironing board on a little table. So it is very, very, very challenging to actually get anything ironed, and it probably took me like an hour, and I'm not going to redo it at this point. Alrighty guys, so you can kind of see me here, kind of not. So I screwed up and I cut out this pattern all the way to the black line. The instructions told me not to do it, but I did it because I thought it made more sense, because I didn't want to transfer this pattern across everything using like pattern tracing paper, but I kind of hate what I did. So this first one I will be cutting out by basically dirtying this really old vintage pattern piece with chalk, which it's fine. I'm not thrilled about it, but it is what it is. And so I'll be doing this. Horrible, look at this, horrible edge. But I think we'll be okay, and we might not recut. This is an interfacing thing. And then the last thing I'm gonna do, because this pattern, you can't really tell the in and the out, I've decided that what I put on the inside is the inside of the pattern. So I'm just gonna like do some like blue lines in chalk on what I consider the inside of the fabric, so that way I don't get confused later, because I will get confused later. Okay, I have my first really horrible pieces cut. I might try to clean up those edges a little. We'll see. So I pinned it down, frowned upon on vintage pattern use, but I guess I kind of already ruined it anyway, so doesn't matter. And if this lets me have a more effective piece out of this, then I don't waste as many things. So we're just cutting along. All right, so all the pattern cutting is done. It was horrible. I didn't do a good job. I maybe ruined the pattern. I think I could still use the pattern, but I would never feel comfortable giving it to somebody else to use. I don't know. I think I need to go and watch some videos about pattern transferring. I think that I just could have done a much better job. I think my pieces I have are all workable, so we're gonna continue on. So I'm gonna go grab the instructions. I forgot those. Okay. So the instructions on this are actually very good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. they like show right side out, wrong side fabric, whatever. So the first instruction is just to completely stitch up the back piece, which I have here. My machine is all threaded and ready to go. So yeah, so I'm gonna do this first. We're just back stitching, and then we have the back all done. Cool. That is good, so we will just iron that. Next up in the pattern instructions is to sew in the bust darts they come down like this. So I had drawn those dots. I have them all pinned up and ready to sew. So I'll get these sewn in. Cool. We got our darts sewn. So we're already well on our way. Okay, so we're now gonna iron. So these get ironed in towards the buttonholes. These have been stitched. You can kind of maybe see it, I don't know. But the instructions say to attach the inner facing to the pocket like this. From what I understand, you're then gonna flip it out. Again, I don't know. This like seems very baffling to me. I guess it works. Yeah. Okay, I'm on board maybe. But we're gonna see how well this actually works. The pockets alone have taken me almost the whole afternoon, which is, you know, good fun. Phew, I understand. I need to stitch this because this is what's out and this is what goes into the pocket, I believe. So then I need to turn it. Yeah, okay, so this needs to be stitched. And then this seam will end up in the actual dress, I believe. So then yes, I am then after that flipping this like this, and I'll probably have to clip a little corner in here. Cool. Okay, so this is what that looks like. We've got that first pocket in. It's looking fine. Like there's nothing wrong, like really wrong with how it's stretching. So the biggest thing I'll have to do here is make sure it is pinned correctly for then when I close that side seam eventually. So I'm actually gonna fold it and I think just iron it. I'm gonna be very excited about this dress. I think it'll turn out just fine. My main goal is to get most of the construction done today and then do the buttons and stuff tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. So right now I have, let me see if I can show you. I have the dress like kind of put together now, which is very exciting. You can see it taking form. But basically we're sewing the shoulders together here, and then after that I'm gonna sew, this is the back collar, and I'm sewing that together as well, just a seam along the back. So I'm gonna, I guess, do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and press this open, and then once this is pressed open, I'm going to put in the inner facing for the collar, and then I believe I will come back here after I have the inner facing in the collar. So what I ended up doing while I wasn't on camera is I sewed the inner collar together. I put the inner facing in the other collar, and then that's pretty much it. So now I'm gonna sew all the way around the collar for the dress, and then we'll get the side seams stitched up in a minute. Alrighty, I have the collar all made, as you can kind of see, but there's a real collar here. So the last thing that I am going to do tonight while on camera is sew up the side seams of the garment. And then I'm gonna work on tacking the inside of the collar down tonight. And then tomorrow, I just have the cuffs left to do, as well as hemming it, and then the buttonholes and the buttons. So this will be pretty crazy because for my first project, it'll be an all day, 2-day project, but it won't be that long. Well, good morning. It's another day, another morning of sewing. So this morning so far, I have already cut off the bottom of the hem. to where I know I want it. I'll have a 3-inch allowance down here that then I'll tuck under, and also some hemming tape onto. And then I'll just hand hem that. And then I got my cuffs interfaced and then sewn together and then pinned onto the garment the way the instructions tell me to, I believe. Yeah, so the instructions, I don't totally understand what they're asking me to do, but basically from what I understand, I might just end up putting on this facing again and sewing it inward and just pressing it really well so it doesn't like pop back out. Okay, I have it all sewed, and I'm just clipping all those extra fibers and things. So what I'm assuming happens next is you turn in everything. So this is then what that ends up looking like. I'm gonna do the second one off camera and hopefully do a better job. And then after that, I am going to measure where all my buttons go and do a practice buttonhole before then I guess doing the buttonholes on camera. All right guys, so this is me now 2 weeks from when I shot that last tidbit of film. What I didn't know was that my machine was not going to cooperate and was not going to sew a buttonhole on a stretchy fabric with interfacing in it, which is kind of understandable, but I was also very annoyed. I troubleshooted it for about 4 hours, and in those 4 hours I was testing different tensions, and in that I've discovered my machine's tension discs are really screwed up. So I think I'll either need to repair it, or honestly at this point I might just need to replace it. I bought it as a starter machine to like start to learn on and figure out if I like sewing before I buy like a nicer sewing machine. So my next sewing machine will definitely be quite a bit nicer than this one and hopefully a little bit more heavy duty and will do more work for me. We'll see. I also know sewing machines are just kind of like, they're like computers, they glitch and each one has its pros and cons on features. So we'll see. I could not get the buttonhole to work on this fabric. I could get it to work on plain cotton. It would do plain cotton just fine. So I decided to learn how to stitch buttonholes by hand. So these are like not the neatest and cleanest buttonholes you will ever see because this was my first time doing them. However, I am proud of the result and they are very functional. So let me hold up. This is the finished garment. You can see the buttons and the buttonholes. I was able to use the 9 buttons that I wanted to use instead of 12 because I had to take off I think like 6 or 7 inches on the hem because I'm short and I wanted this to hit like right below my knee. I love just all the details on this dress. I love these pointed cuffs. I like the pointed collar. I love the like flap on the pocket and how big these pockets are. I can put a lot in these. The one thing is when I remake this dress, I will make sure to use probably a stiffer cotton and then as well as a cotton with no stretch to it and no polyester mixed in. That's what made this garment truly a nightmare to sew. Because like if you look in the armpits here, it's like kind of wrinkled from where the fabric like stretched as I sewed it. Because there was stretch in the fabric that shouldn't have been there in theory if I had chosen the right fabric. I did have 4 more yards of this that I'm donating. The other thing about this fabric and kind of a bigger disappointment around it too is usually a polyester mix will wrinkle less when it's with cotton than like just a basic cotton. This somehow wrinkles more. I wore it to work one day and by the end I felt like I like was wearing like wrinkled sheets or something. I don't know. It wasn't my favorite, so I will not use this material again. And then as for craft, I could definitely, you know, finish my edges in here. I didn't because I don't know. I was kind of trying to speed through this and like prove that I could make a garment. So the next time I will definitely, like here I didn't use interfacing before I basted it down. Next time, or not interfacing, bias tape. Next time I will line this with bias tape and stitch that down for a neater finish because then I can cover some of the things like this better. But overall I'm really happy with it. The other thing I could do next time is I can have a contrasting collar so you can have the inside be a different fabric. You can also have the flaps be a different fabric as well as the cuffs. So there's a lot of like variations you can do here, and then the cuffs and the pockets, actually the whole dress, it would be really, really easy to add lace or ribbon or some other fun, really beautiful details. I love like the versatility of this dress. I love that you can cinch it in. I even did make a matching belt in the end, and I like pointed the end like the rest of the garment. And then I also like wearing it loose. I think I can see this being a very like practical summer house dress for me when I'm sewing or when I'm cleaning or when I'm kind of just hanging out at the house. It's super comfy, but also looks really nice. All in all, this was a great project and I learned so much from it. This pattern was slightly more complicated than I thought it was. Now that I've looked back at some of my other patterns, a lot of them would have been easier. The joke on me was I was trying to avoid having to sew in a zipper. I don't know why, but I am terrified of learning how to sew in a zipper, so I've been putting it off. And I was like, buttons will be easy because I've used the buttonhole feature on my machine and it's so fast and so great and so easy. Yeah, that worked well for me. So I'm gonna just suck it up and do a zipper next time. That is it for this video. If you like vintage and sewing content, definitely hit that subscribe button. I post every Friday. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Just have to sit like a normal person. Oh no, is this not in focus? Ah, so bad. Oh. Nice. We just spilled all my pins on the floor. Use the fusible, I don't know what I'm doing. This brush out is crazy. Oh my god. God, you're going off topic again. Stop rambling. I didn't thank you the first time, so I can't thank you again.